Well, good evening, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Spilling Tea. I am your host, Tiffany Daniels, and obviously, as you can see, being it's Saturday, happy Saturday, everyone. We are, of course, going back to Down the Rabbit Hole, and we are going forward as we are exposing the insanity that is Jenny McCarthy and her particular impact in regards to the reemergence of the anti-vax movement that really got steam late 90s, early 2000s, and into the 2010s. Before we do, brief disclaimer, everything that we cover throughout the duration of the Down the Rabbit Hole series, you're going to be able to find links to all of them right there in the description box for you all. So should you like to go ahead and deep dive on this subject, or just to double check your facts, you're definitely able to go ahead and do so. Trigger warnings. We're going to start with the most obvious one. If you are a virulent anti-vaxxer, but you do not wish to engage in a civil and proper debate, but instead go immediately on the attack, or call names, or spread misinformation, and I will know, I have a hyperfixation when it comes to research, especially on this subject. If there's misinformation that's been disproven and it's put in the comments, I will find out. I will call it out. And then I will remove your comment and block you from the channel. This is your only warning. I will not tolerate misinformation, lies, or name calling. Nobody has any time for that, especially not now. My platform, my rules. Just say. There's a reason why it's a small channel. Other than obviously this is amateur hour. But I digress. First off, I do want to mention, of course, we do have this channel marked not for kids for a reason. I do use profanity, and some of the topics that we can cover on this channel can be particularly triggering. So if you do have a child that is 16 and younger, and they do watch the channel, parental supervision is advised. Now, this is in particular an interview that was done with Jenny McCarthy back in 2009. And if you're like, Tiffany, have you held a grudge for that long? It's me you're talking about. When it comes to me and it comes to those I consider my people, there is not a single thing on God's green earth I wouldn't do, and there is no grudge that ever really truly 100% goes away. I defend my own like a lion, like a starved lion. And you just set a stake in front of me just a few inches away where I can't reach and have me on a chain. Things will go down. Alright? Okay, but anyways, this is going to be the interview. We're going to go ahead and read through it. This is right when, because we're talking about, at this point, I had been 1 year in with the advocacy specialist position for the Department of Mental Health, Division of Developmental Disabilities, when this all went insane. To say I plunged in headlong and haven't come to surface yet would be an understatement. But let's go again and we're going to read it, alright? Okay, so this is by Jeffrey Kluger. There was not much in Jenny McCarthy's early career as a Playboy model and MTV star to suggest that she would become a passionate advocate for family issues, children's health, and autism awareness. First off, Jenny, at this point, there are insects under rocks in Timbuktu who have at least heard of the word autism. We don't need awareness. We need acceptance. We need an actual medical model that is based in reality and not in fan fiction. I could go on. But it's a family issue. No, I'm fucking tired of this. It's a me issue. I'm the one with the diagnosis. The family does not have the diagnosis. I have the diagnosis. Stop. Stop, because I'm so tired. I feel for families in desperate situations. And I have put my ass on the line more than once to do everything I can to help them. But parents especially, it's not about your other kids. It's not about you. It's about the child with the diagnosis. When you became a parent, whether your kid is neurotypical or not, it became no longer about you. Please act accordingly. It's not about you, it's not about the siblings, it's not about your husband, it's about the person with the actual diagnosis. Now, does that impact you? Oh, 100%. Absolutely it does. But to sit here and frame that particular kid as a family issue is dehumanizing, condescending, and I'm gonna be blunt here, evil as hell. You think we don't internalize that? You think we hear these conversations, family issues, children's health, and we don't see ourselves as our existence is the issue? Think about the shit you say. Let me continue. But the birth of her now almost 7-year-old son, Evan, who developed autism early in life. You're born with it. Oh my God. Even in 2009, we had knowledge of the fact that you are born autistic. You don't gain it later. This is not like the Black Death. Okay? It's not a pandemic. It's a developmental disability that forms in utero. Point blank. No wonder people are willing to listen to them. Gonna be nice. Gonna be nice. Gonna be nice. Gonna try really, really hard. McCarthy has become a best-selling author, first of lighter stuff like Baby Laughs and Life Laughs, then of the more serious fare, Louder Than Words, A Mother's Journey in Healing Autism. If you can see my internal cringe and just the underlying absolute rage at the absolute audacity, you're just seeing the surface. Now she is releasing her 5th book, co-authored with autism specialist Dr. Jerry Cartzenel, titled Healing and Preventing Autism. Oh my God. The book is awfully smart when it comes to hard-headed advice for families trying to heal or at least draw out an autistic child. Has any of you fuckers ever considered we don't want to be drawn out specifically because of this shit? We know when we're not accepted for who we are, folks. We will do the bare minimum and mask until we're 18 and we can get the hell out. But you're so withdrawn and you won't interact with the family. You think maybe there might be a problem? Think maybe that problem is, why would I be out there allowing a family to draw me out that have already labeled me as the problem? Why would you even want to come out? Why would you want to interact with them? Why would you want to spend time with individuals who may have the best intentions in the world, but they view you as a problem? Do you want to interact with that? I know what that feels like. I know exactly what that feels like, not from my mom and dad, but from other family members that I lived with temporarily. I know exactly what that feels like. It's horrifying. It's isolating. It's exceptionally lonely. Okay? And then you want me to come out and hang out with you? That'd be like the bully beating your ass, and then the teachers come out, and then he wants you to pretend to be his bestie so he doesn't get in trouble. Like, bro, are you kidding me? Anyways. But McCarthy goes soft when she starts exploring the causes of autism, making the usual charges against the usual suspects, including nutrition, environmental toxins, and as always, vaccines. The only thing that I would give merit is environmental toxins, but not in of and by themselves. It's hereditary, and it can interact with the toxins in the environment, just like anything else does. Nutrition, Jenny, I'm going to describe to you my morning breakfast. It is a 0 sugar Greek yogurt, in which case I shred up a grapefruit, throw in blueberries, about 3 spoonfuls of bare granola. Along with that, I have a little bit of cottage cheese. Some blueberries also thrown into that because it makes it particularly tasty. And then along with that, I have 2 digestives that I got addicted to when visiting England over a decade ago in Scotland. That's my very healthy breakfast. Want to know what my lunch is? Avocado toast. A couple of pieces of those Baby Bell cheeses because I have an addiction and a problem. And then usually maybe something along the lines of possibly some applesauce or something around that nature. And then at night, I eat my very healthy meals of things such as steamed broccoli with chicken and riced cauliflower, real Asian ramen that is actually imported from Japan and South Korea. Those sort of things. Now, I've even gone on non-gluten, which I had to because I was doing keto at the time. I was not at any point in time any less autistic than I've always been. I can actually vouch for that right now. Okay? For the love of God, when I think of snacks, it is usually along the lines of some form of cheese, something along the lines like an everything bagel, maybe. It's not the nutrition. That is absolutely idiotic. But what about the stomach issues? Don't you have stomach issues? Of course I do. You want to know what gives me stomach issues? The fact that I have anxiety disorder. And anxiety affects the gut. Mine happens to be acid reflux that I've had ever since, God, at least middle school, if not further back. That anxiety comes, Jenny, from living in a world not made for me, surrounded by individuals who think that I should change everything about myself to suit them. And because I have a label, there's a consensus where the world agrees. Would fuck up anybody's stomach, would stress out anybody to the max. And we all know stress affects the gut. I can't deal with these people. I really just, God. McCarthy and Time Science editor Jeffrey Kluger sparred over the causes of autism and the safety of vaccines. Now, we are going to go ahead and read one more paragraph. We're probably going to have to split this into several because this woman just triggers me like no one else on planet Earth other than Dr. Israel and Andrew Wakefield. Let me continue here. Alright, here we are. Your book points out autism rates between 1983 and 2008 have climbed in lockstep with vaccination rates. Yet childhood obesity, diabetes, and even cell phone use have soared since then too. Why do you find causation in one and not the others? Oh my God. Do we not know how to ask proper medical questions anymore? I would mention the fact that she mentions that. She says with vaccination rates. I would also make her aware of, is she aware of the fact that the idea and concept as autism as a spectrum wasn't even contemplated until the mid-90s? That where the real spike began to happen was circa around 1994, 1995. Now, folks, in lockstep with vaccination rates. You want to know what else was going on during that time? The DSM-4 had just been released, and for the very first time, it wasn't just the classic Tanner's autism that was listed in there. Also included was Asperger's syndrome and pervasive developmental disorder not otherwise specified, also known as PDD-NOS. So that means a lot of individuals, like myself, who maybe talked early, have a few things that are not so much in accordance with what we think of classic autism, got left out of the lurch. But now that we understand that there was more to it, and that individuals like myself also needed help and a diagnosis and a team too, then you got a major spike in diagnoses because as we learn more diagnoses happen. So take a look at that spike. In particular, pay attention to the years between 1994 to now. DSM-4 came out with Asperger's and PDD-NOS. DSM-5 enlarged it to a spectrum of individuals who are affected by the same diagnosis in different ways. That is what we have learned over the last 2 to 3 decades. You should have asked her if she was aware that one of the biggest surge times was in the mid-90s, and that also in the mid-90s was when the DSM-4 had just been released, 94, 95. And ask her what she thinks about that. That does she think it is plausible that in fact the numbers of individuals who have autism are not actually increasing at all, but as knowledge increases, the more we realize it's more of a kind of a circular spectrum, in my opinion, because functionality depends on the day. But do you think that possibly the rise in regards to those who have received diagnoses might be because of that? Not because of vaccinations that save people's lives? Why wasn't that asked? Why wasn't it asked? Even worse, childhood obesity? Are you on crack? Are you on crack? I'm actually genuinely asking if you're on crack. I have never been obese ever in my lifetime. There have been moments when I've been chunky, but I have never, ever, at any point in time been considered clinically obese, especially in my childhood. As a matter of fact, in my childhood, the big problem was the fact that I was always very dangerously underweight no matter how much I ate. So it was literally the exact opposite problem. Bro, are you for real? Oh my god. Alright, and diabetes. Bro. And cell phone use. Oh my god. It's like they get their talking points from the pseudoscience-loving Republicans. Mother of God. But yeah, okay. We're going to read the paragraph. We're going to close this out. But I should have realized. Alright, so here's her answer. I'm not saying it's only the vaccines. No, but you're insistent that they're a part of it when they're not. I've literally ingested and facilitated more mercury in my body by eating tuna sandwiches because my mom always got the can than I have from a single vaccine shot. I will say that again. I had more mercury enter into my body by eating tuna fish sandwiches as a kid than I have ever gotten from a single vaccine. But the children are given so many shots from the moment they're born. They get multiple injections all at once, and if they fall behind, doctors put them on a catch-up schedule. You want to know why that is, Jenny? That's because babies are particularly extremely vulnerable to disease and viruses when they are babies. Using COVID for an example, in regards to babies in particular, and how high the rate was for them passing away to something such as COVID, because some dumbass thought that they'd get the supertism from taking the COVID shot and would infect other vulnerable people who are immunocompromised. Dear God. That's why they give them the shot so quickly, Jenny. It's because, in particular, when your child is still a baby, they are at their most vulnerable outside of when they become elderly. If we're lucky enough, that is. Are extremely and particularly vulnerable to diseases and viruses. The infant mortality rate of yesteryear before vaccines was insanely high. I mean, my God, one of the biggest scandals of English history, yes, we're talking King Henry VIII, had to do with the high infant mortality rate during the time period because we didn't have these vaccines here to protect from illnesses that used to get babies in infancy, like the sweat, for example. That's why they do it the way that they do it, Jenny. It's because they're trying to inoculate them against everything that they can so that they'll be less susceptible, even as a baby, to a disease as they would be better than they would be did they not have the shots. But there's so many of them because we learn about new diseases, Jenny. You ever notice with more vaccines, the more infant mortality rate seems to go down? I think there's a correlation there, don't you? Babies get the hepatitis B vaccine immediately after they're born, and the only way for a newborn to contract the disease is if the mother is a carrier. Oh my God. Are you aware that hepatitis B can be spread by touch? Actually, I may be wrong, that might be hepatitis A, but my point still stands. Why not just screen the mother? Evan was handed to me pre-vaccinated with a Band-Aid on his foot. Yeah, hepatitis B is deadly. But before we go ahead and close out, we're going to look this up here real quick. Now let me read why you're wrong, Jenny. Can't you just screen the mother? And won't that... No, it won't fix it. Let us explain why. Yes, babies can contract hepatitis B not just from their birth parents, but also from infected family members or others through close contact with contaminated blood or body fluids, such as sharing personal items like toothbrushes, or through injuries like bites or needles. You think bugs when you go outside don't bite babies. I got a history lesson just for you. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention and others recommend that all infants receive the hepatitis B vaccine shortly after birth and complete the series to protect them from infection from any source. So, how a baby can get hepatitis B from someone other than their birth parent? It can be a close family member or caregiver. Young children can get the virus from other infected family members or people who are in close contact with them. Now remember fluids. Be like, well, they're not doing anything. If you cough, fluid will come out of your mouth. You come in contact with that fluid, no matter how long it's been since it's left your mouth. This is what happens. Sharing personal items, sharing like a toothbrush or a razor with someone who has the virus. Uncovered wounds or injuries. Someone with the disease who could possibly be around the baby, or it's just there by accident and they get any blood or body fluids on a child's open cuts, scrapes, or other breaks in their skin. Cuts, scrapes, and bites. Now we're going to read the rest of this just to inform Miss Jenny here. Infants are at high risk. Babies and young children infected with hepatitis B are likely to develop chronic liver disease. Widespread need for screening. Not all people with hepatitis B know they have it, Jenny, and they may unknowingly spread it to others. Protection against infection from any source. So other family members out in the community, anywhere where it can possibly happen. You got to realize, yes, your child is an infant, but even they go outside of the home once in a while. And that pretty much sums it up, folks. So we're going to go ahead and close out for tonight. We don't get very many views on this channel. The few we do get tend to get removed from time to time. Please don't forget to hit the like button, hit subscribe. Don't forget to get the comments, and make sure you're still receiving notifications. Tomorrow we're going to be coming back with another episode of the Snake Oil Salesman series. We definitely don't want you to be missing anything. I do appreciate your time, and as always, folks, we here at Spilling Tea absolutely do hope you have a good one. I will see you all tomorrow. Bye-bye, everyone.